In this tutorial, we will provide a high-level summary of third-party software and open-source software. When buying a license to commercial off-the-shelf software, the assumption is that all of the software was created by the publisher. Therefore, we also assume the publisher owns the software, including the rights to grant us a license to use the software. It turns out that in many cases these assumptions are not true. Publishers often obtain third-party software and embed it in their own software, meaning the software you are licensing might contain some software code or software products from other sources. There are two types of embedded third-party software to be concerned about. One type is proprietary software created by a third-party publisher, and the other type is open-source software. We will describe these two types of embedded software shortly. Software is a form of intellectual property, or IP. In the proprietary model, where companies sell licenses to their IP for money, they protect their intellectual property in two ways. The first way is by using copyright law. Licensees obtain use rights to the copyrighted IP through end-user license agreements, referred to as EULAs. The second way publishers protect their IP is through a physical mechanism. Software is initially written in a human-readable form called source code. In proprietary software models, the source code is converted to object code, which is a series of computer instructions that are not human-readable. They are only machine-readable. Licensees receive only the object code version of the software they licensed. This prevents unauthorized copying of the IP. In the open-source software model, the software authors are not proprietary companies. These authors want all licensees to receive and have access to the source code. Open-source authors use licenses called General Public Licenses, or GPLs, which are not concerned with protecting intellectual property. GPL terms and conditions focus on ensuring open and free use of the source code, but GPLs typically require that open-source principles are honored by all licensees. One of the key principles is to share derivative works with the open-source community. Some open source is available as standalone product. Examples include the Firefox browser and the Linux operating system. It is clear to a licensee when a standalone open-source product is licensed. The rights and duties are spelled out in the GPL license. Potential problems arise when pieces of open-source code are used in proprietary products. We will discuss those issues shortly. First, we will talk about two scenarios where proprietary software can be considered third-party software. Sometimes, in order to use the software you are licensing, referred to as primary software, other proprietary software is required. Examples include operating systems and databases. When it is known that other proprietary software is required, it is usually licensed separately from the primary software. But sometimes the other proprietary software is embedded in the software you are licensing. Primary software publishers might embed open source or other proprietary software, collectively referred to as third-party software, without disclosing it. Undisclosed embedded third-party software could expose the government to significant potential liability. Some examples of potential liability include intellectual property infringement, failure to share open-source enhancements, unforeseen additional licenses, and unbudgeted additional license cost for other proprietary software. The government can guard against these liabilities by including 5 clauses in every EULA, which will require the publisher to 1. Disclose all third-party software embedded in or delivered as part of their primary software. 2. Covenant that the third-party software is used appropriately in the primary software. This means the publisher has signed licenses authorizing the publisher to use the third-party software. 3. Indemnify the government against additional licenses or fees. This means that the publisher will pay for any damages that might be awarded if it is found that the third-party software was used without permission. 4. Warrant that the third-party software will work with the primary software as the primary software publisher intended. The primary software publisher chose to use the third-party software. Therefore, the primary software publisher should be willing to stand behind that decision. It is not fair for the government to take on the risk of the third-party software working properly. 5. Indemnify the government against sharing open source enhancements back to the open source community. These 5 clauses should protect the government against liability for using third-party software that is embedded in the software being licensed. For more information about open source and third-party software, please view the white paper on the ESI website. Thank you for viewing this tutorial. Please visit the DoD ESI website for more information and other videos in this series.